Take it to
It
bid,
hasn't arrived
take the
yet,
price
but,
of it.
Okay.
And so my
I
colleague
think we're gonna go
of
the
mine,
direction
she
of
said,
having another one too.
you know, it's a problem.
All right, guys,
Scary, but it's,
we're gonna get started because Jake has a very far drive and he was nice enough to come down here. So for those of you that don't know, Jake and I are connected on LinkedIn. He actually did a post a couple weeks ago saying that I keep having the same conversations when I walk in the shop, whether to no quote, push back, whatever it may be. He said he was willing to host a roundtable up near him. I told him about our collaboration group, and here we are. So, with that said, there's Jake.
Thank you, Brett. This is what happens when you open your mouth on LinkedIn. So let's start with that. This is my first time ever doing anything like this, so just bear with me, and we're gonna kind of get through this. I'll give you a little bit of my background here in a second, but is that like, I just want to go around and kind of understand who everybody is, what you're doing, what your role is, before I kind of get into this. So, Matt, right?
yeah, take it away. I've got a small shop down in Southwest Philly, APW. Got rolling a little over a year ago. We focus on 5-axis machining of moderate to high complexity components that fit within about a 6-inch cube.
Okay.
Most of the production.
Yeah, actually, Matt kind of brought me into the group here, but I do primarily prototype work, so a lot of R&D work, a lot of stuff that's like pretty complex stuff, but a lot of things that other shops won't touch. That's the kind of work that I try to focus on. And just a one-man shop, but expanded and looking to add some people and some machines, you know. So always looking for the right work at the right time, you know, pretty standard stuff.
And how long you been in business?
For a while, but I've kind of been in other businesses as well. So, but I kind of ventured back to this because I always kind of like doing it. So I just kind of, I guess, went back into it there for a while, and now I have my own shop, which is a lot bigger. Actually, when I met Matt for the first time, he was my sales guy for Yamazon, and he was kind of just working for those guys. He saw my shop at a garage shop, and I moved to a larger location up in Green Lake, Pennsylvania, and then that's where I'm at right now today. I just moved to my shop, so it was like literally back in December. So it's a big improvement from what I had. I was in a pretty tight spot, you know. But now it's nice.
It was efficient before.
It was very efficient. It was very small. It was like, a portion of the shop, but now it's like it's a lot nicer. It's like 6,000 square feet versus like 400. So yeah, makes a big difference. That's me.
I'm Caleb Hammond. I'm a mechanical engineer. I work for Ram Precision. I'm basically a general manager there, but I also focus on the milling department and trying to make things more efficient everywhere around the shop.
Okay.
So I've been there almost 10 years now. Next week will be 10 years. So Ram's been in business like 40 years, somewhere around there.
Okay.
It's a good place to work.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Kevin Hens. I've been in the industry for 12 years. I'm a distributor's rep, so we represent a bunch of different manufacturers. Sell to Brett, I sell to Kale, worked with Mark in the past. Matt's one of my customers, so I'm happy to be here. Worked for a different distributor for about 10 years and then switched like last July.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're a new distributor in the area, just looking to help people out. We try to be pretty reasonably priced with all the big box places of the world, and we're trying to get ourselves established in the area.
Yeah. Very cool.
I'm Anthony Prado, Zero Core. We're actually literally right across the street over in Camars. I'm actually in the plastics world, injection molding for us, but we do our own mold making, tool making, mold maintenance, things like that. So that's actually how I met Brett. I was doing consulting work for another client and had to bring the work over here because a lot of the stuff was getting made in China and finishing here, but it was getting too hard. But company that I operate now, I'm essentially like the director for it. It's a joint partnership between one of my previous consulting clients and my family's family office as well. So.
Brett Lister, owner of B&B Dynamic Machining. I think we've been open for 4 years in March. As I mentioned earlier, this is the 3rd year of the collaboration meetings. And I'm just trying to give back to manufacturing any way I can. whether it be the collaboration meetings, helping 2 organizations in Philly, it's just all about giving back and helping manufacturing in general.
My was retired, too much time on my hands.
Always a need for that.
Yeah, that's me.
That's awesome. Good for you.
Jim Leadham, Leadham Precision, small machine shop. I do some milling and some lathe work. Gotten to know, become friends, real good friends here with Brett. He's been helping me out in so many different ways. Very, really nice of him to do that. I've been in metalworking my whole life, fabricating. I worked for my mom and dad's company for 20 years fabricating. So my dad had me under a welding helmet at about 10 years old. So learned how to weld, learned how to fabricate. Then that got us into machining. So that's, that's how it all got started. So
Awesome.
I'm Keith Lee. Patrick and I started our shop like a year and a half ago, and 6 months ago moved into a bigger commercial space and full time now. We started just doing it at night. Yeah, we're just a mill focused, like classic job shop style, high mix, low volume.
Very cool.
Yeah, Patrick Lee, Keith's brother, Liberty Manufacturing. A little bit of our background, I have a degree in mechanical engineering and then spent a couple years in the heavy construction industry. I think Keith's actually got more of the machining background, using the Air National Guard, and then worked for a number of different shops, but all doing, machining work, and that led us here. So.
Awesome. And I'm Jake Kreider, so I run Kreider Sourcing. I've been in manufacturing for about 6 years now. If you ask me how to run any of these machines, I tell you to go pound sand. I have no idea how they work. I know roughly what goes in them, and I can get you in touch with the guy that runs them. But I've been in sales for about almost 17 years now. So that's my background, that's my life, and now what I actually do, I worked for two different fab shops for about 5 years, and then about a year and a half ago, I was out on my own and looking for something new, and just decided, hey, why can't I be in sales for multiple different companies? So I kind of work as a part-time sales rep for currently about 5 different fab shops, a few here in Pennsylvania, one in South Dakota, and a few out west, even further than that too. So I kind of give them a set amount of hours a week or a month, and kind of help them work through incoming leads, past leads, and all different sorts of whatever their needs are. Sometimes I'll sit in on their operations meetings and whatnot. So again, in the fab world, in the manufacturing world, just brought on a machine shop as well to kind of help them. So I'm starting to dig into this world a little bit more, understand it. But again, my background is mainly sales. So I posted that to LinkedIn because it leads and RFQs coming in and responses and all the things. It's just it's become an issue from what I've been seeing over the last couple of years. And with my background and whatnot, I'm like, why can't we just get everybody together and try and talk through some of this stuff and see if there's a better way, for you guys to collaborate and find better ways to work together as a team, internally and even externally. Like, this is great. I don't know if it's a machining thing, but fab guys don't do this. I tell you what,
It's against the grain.
it must be. It's insane. Because the first shop I worked for, I was there for 3.5 years, and I'll tell you, we barely outsourced anything, and we knew people that had the machines that we needed, and we just wouldn't talk to them, and I never understood it. Now I'm starting to see it break a little bit, but yeah, this is really cool. So I didn't know what this would look like when I showed up. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna have a mic and everything up here, or stage, or what I'm gonna be looking at. So
It varies from month to month,
Yeah.
especially when we get in the summer months, because obviously a lot of the older people have kids and stuff like that. We've been down to 5 people, and we still help out when we're having 5 people. There's
Yeah.
still something that gets said or helped out or something like that, and we've been up to 20 to 25 people.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah. So what I want this to kind of be is just and I'll get into this more, but I want this to just kind of be an open discussion. I would imagine if you guys raise your hands, everybody in here in some way, shape, or form is seeing RFQs coming in, seeing quotes coming in, right or wrong? Yes? Okay. So that's easy. Is anybody on social media in here besides Brett? Okay, good. Does anybody struggle to win leads, win RFQs pretty consistently? Or is everybody pretty much nail it all the time?
I'm a little bit like Brett said, you gotta get on LinkedIn, so I know I have to
Yeah.
accomplish that goal.
And I'm not here to take videos and help you do that, but we can talk about that another time. But no, I'm just making sure that, we're at least talking to the right guys here. There's some new companies, which is awesome to hear. I'm a new company. I feel like we need a therapy group just for new startups. Like, just just the random text that I'll send my wife, like, am I doing the right thing today? Like, what is this? Why did I send this? But, so basically what I just wanted to say, I'm gonna end it real quickly, is the answer to all your questions is just hire me. So that is the end of my presentation, and we'll move on. Just kidding. So like Brett said, I want to talk about, you know, when to quote, when to push back, when to walk away, you know, because we're all getting these RFQs coming in, and we don't know, is it good, is it bad, you know, what is your process of starting that? So, like I said, I want this to be a working session. I don't want to sit here and lecture you, because if I was sitting in your seat, I'd be glazed over in about 10 minutes and ready to move on. So I'd like to keep it kind of, like, let's keep open communication. Maybe you can split up into groups here in a minute. Keep customer names out of it, I would say, unless you guys are okay sharing that, in which I will overhear and it's recorded, and then I will go find those customers too. Just kidding. Yeah, we'll kind of talk through some of this stuff. So I gave you my background. I'm not a machinist. Sales is my life. I live by the show up first, show up often, and don't let it die when it comes to quoting. Everything else I'm always late to, so I was actually thankfully here on time, which was great. But you get me to show up to work anytime I'm running a little late. And follow up. I want to talk a little bit about follow up too, and just how, you know, the advantage of having a good follow up system. So let's go around the room real quick and just kind of a quick show of hands here. Like, who's getting 5 leads a month? Okay. Keep your hand up if you're getting 10 leads a month. Okay. 20? Okay. Okay. And so, you know, from those 20 leads, how many of those leads are you closing currently?
I can take it first. Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's different, you know, because it's not high production work, so it's like, you know, they could be, you know, one-off, and then it could be repeat customers, you know, so it varies a lot. But, you know, I have pretty good established, you know, base, and I meet a lot of different people just through those. Warm market seems to be the best for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just quickly turn around. I don't do a lot of advertising, believe it or not. It's just all warm market leads.
Mm-hmm.
And people that are happy, they're usually my repeat customers. They come back, they bring me challenging work, and I take it, you know, and that's basically how business works. You know, you take it, and a lot of people will just decline doing it because it's you know, it's just not in their wheelhouse, you know what I mean? So I'm happy to take that kind of work.
Yeah.
Actually, I enjoy it. So yeah, a lot of people, you know, like I said, if they're set up more for production, it's going to be challenging. You know, it's going to be hard to compete. You know what I mean? Because how you can tear down a machine for a one-off or a two-off, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's, you know, it's pretty good. You know? But as far as like, you know, organic leads and getting them steady, and it doesn't happen every month that solid, but I'd say on average it's probably 10 to 20, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Whether or not I can process them on time and get them out the door, you know, that's the challenge. And scheduling. You know,
Yeah.
obviously scheduling is difficult. You know, making it work, getting them back to the customer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your typical quote turnaround time?
A day.
Okay.
Yeah, turning around pretty quick. Yeah, and I don't like to wait too long, because it'll dissolve, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you go to somebody else. So if you can bang it out, get them back to them, I try to do it same day or at least next day. Yeah, I don't wanna wait, you know what I mean? But I need a larger team. I mean, bottom line is, when you have a group of guys that are working with you, it's a much better support group, you know what I mean, as far as like getting everything to them, you know, and having like a you know, a secretary with people. But to be honest with you, sometimes that's a challenge, because they don't know what you know, so how do you convey that and get that across, and then it becomes less, you know, direct to the
Mm-hmm.
customer. They're like, I don't know if I buy it, you know what I mean, they just
Yeah.
don't get it, you know what I mean, so it's difficult sometimes, just that's what I found anyway,
Yeah.
so.
Excellent.
I will say one last thing real quick, I'm sorry, Matt, about having the group and stuff like that, is now that I know he does stuff like that, is I don't wanna say there's not too often times that people no quote, they're gonna no quote, but they're gonna, like, Matt's passed off a customer to me, or I do work that's 3-axis work for Matt. Like, we're gonna find a way to get it done throughout the group somehow.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, there are times that, I push back or no quote, but with having this group, it really does come in handy to be like, hey, Marcio, do you want this part? Because you have a laser live tool and you can compete better than I can. You know, so there is a lot of exchanging in this group, which I think is freaking awesome. I never expected it to be about that, but it does help us with the jobs that, now that I, again, prototype, now I know to go to him, this is his first meeting. Matt's already used me. I'm trying to get those guys more customers just because I want to. You know?
Yeah, that's good, Shannon. I mean, our set of capabilities is pretty narrow. I mean, we try to avoid being like a general purpose job shop. So we end up no quoting a lot intentionally. You know, what we do quote, when we work with our customers to kind of find the sweet spot, our win rate tends to be pretty high, like upwards of 50%. And, you know, right now where we're facing some growing pains, we're starting to test the market a little bit more related to like our own pricing or delivery timelines, you know, not in a way that would necessarily compromise our customer relationships, but we want to make sure that we're not just taking the work that's right in front of us, but the stuff that, you know, we're intentionally building systems to support. That's for us kind of the spot we're in. And I try for, you know, some customers maybe will take work and then subcontract it, or we'll just pass it off entirely. You know, we don't see, you know, that customer ever being a big value to us. Usually it's easier just to make an introduction, you know, let someone run with it and try to grow.
What's your quote turnaround time?
We really try to focus on within an hour. I mean, always, or sorry, not within a day, but if someone does reach out, prioritize like a phone call to them within an hour. I mean, I'm a big believer that a lot of buyers are just going to place an order with the first price that they get. Like it was, I think the numbers show that like it's higher than they. I mean, I'd rather to focus on getting a quote that's like 90% accurate, but delivering the customer quicker, than one that's 100% accurate that takes 2 or 3 extra days. I guess that's just philosophy, or we're learning to go and trying to figure out what works.
As far as timeline, we try to how we started in the garage, part-time thing, so I know there's a bit of complicated. So that was an easy way for us to find a word at our booths, you know, so when we started full-time, it's zero hours, that was all we had. And very little, like we had a website, and very little leads came through that. I think we tried to make some ads, you know, we quickly learned that wasn't, so we tried. Now it's a lot more word of mouth, but complicated, so we think that's more work. As far as the win rate, I have a little under 50, you know, it used to be like 60 or 70. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Take whatever you get, yeah.
Right now, I think probably yeah. And I think part of that is for young business, not like our, right, we don't have to buy that, but we have a voice access and then we get creative. So we'll apply that to part, particularly that we apply that, but with 3 or 4 steps. And then we'll sit there and do it. You know, which is something we're trying to figure out as we go through this. We're trying to improve our process. Email, eventually we'll work well together. You know how we said we work well together, but someone else is walking.
Sure,
You know,
yeah.
so trying to build those systems that when we do get there, it's that.
not as good as them, I'm not gonna lie, as far as, I mean, I'm usually a good 2 to 3 days, I'm not gonna lie, most of my customers are alright with that, a lot of them are repeat customers. I was actually just talking to one today about payment because I just started doing work for them and they were a little late, and I said, hey, listen, I wanna build a relationship with you, I just wanna make sure it's beneficial for both of us, and she appreciated that. She's like, I love being that, she loved it, I told her about these meetings, she said, I love the fact that you're doing these meetings. She's like, I like dealing with smaller shops because we can have a phone call conversation. There's one of my customers that I haven't done work for in a while because they're a purchasing department. You can't call to talk to anyone. It's going to the cheapest price possible, and that's not the type of relationship I'm trying to build with my customers. I don't think anyone here is trying to build relationships with customers that way. So I want to say it's usually 2 to 3 days, and my win rate, I want to say it's like 70%, and I'm not going to lie, I'm still learning. I think my margins have to come up a little bit. I've talked to a lot of people, and they do think I'm a little on the low side as far as my rate's concerned, but there definitely has to be a lot more data collection. That's going to be April's meeting, as far as hitting my margins, and becoming more of a business owner and out of the team.
Now, who here has new employees?
Yes.
Just you, okay. You guys just, you're good, so, you guys should, okay.
Now, Jake, I do have a question for you. I'm sorry.
Just you, alright.
Now, again, what do you think your win rate should be? Because I was always told if you're winning 100%, your prices are too low. So what do you think a decent win rate is?
I think I was always taught that about 50% is kind of the average. Like,
Okay.
That's kind of where you want to be, because you're like, and that's kind of what we're going to get into. So if you're going to have leads that come in, you're like, that's an immediate quote, absolutely get that, let's turn that around right away, we want this job. Then you're going to have quotes that come in, you're like, pause, let's look at this, give me a couple hours, I got to finish this job, let's go back and look at it. Then you have other ones that come in, you're like, how the heck are we going to do this? But the quantities are ridiculous, and you're like, let's spend all day and figure this out, but is it a waste of your time? So yeah, I think it's kind of, you're going to have a bunch of those.
Yeah. And I definitely think that's one thing I'm learning is to learn to know quote real quick. My ex-partner, again, he was a button pusher, and he came a long way in the time that we owned the business again, but it didn't allow me to take on the more complicated jobs that I'm capable of. And now the gentleman that is starting in a week or two, he is someone that can handle that work as well. So now I think we are going to be able to handle a little more complicated work, because if I'm running machines, he could look into custom tooling, or vice versa. He could run machines and I can look into custom tooling, because I think he kind of wants that more complicated jobs to be intriguing. Obviously, stay on. You want your employee to be intrigued and coming to work.
Yeah, feel free to ask questions at any point too, because like I said, I don't want to be the only one talking.
When you go to what's the job, what like a profit margin on the job? What's you looking at?
Yeah, see, that's an area that I never touch. Yeah. I mean, it varies though, so I think for me, what I see from the companies that I work with, it just depends on the job. Like if it's a high volume, good job that you're like, okay, this could be a repeatable customer, then yeah, you're looking at a lower margin on that. If it's something that's you're gonna have to work overtime and do this and build that and tear that down and hire that shop to help you, then maybe it's not for you. But yeah, I don't know if it's good or bad, but
Just so you know,
I don't really ever touch anything.
just so everyone knows that so I believe that's what April's meeting is going to be about. One of the new members that showed up at the last meeting, she volunteered her time as well to actually go over simple data collection, whether or not you're hitting your margins. And I believe that's going to be in April that we talked about. I was hoping she could be here tonight so we could discuss it. But I'll reach out to her. But I believe she said April would be good for her. So that's what April's meeting is going to be about.
Who is that, Brett, that's coming in?
So sorry. Terry Sparagna. She's the controller for, I hope I can say, she's the controller for Fuller Technologies. They're a Fortune 500 company. They do like $500 million a year in sales between North and South America. So I figured she'd be a good one to lead that meeting. And she knows, like, again, I help the two organizations in Philly, and she mentors Temple students as well. So she likes what we were doing, and she volunteered her time.
So leads are coming in for you guys, how are you keeping track of those leads? Feel free to just shout it out, or is it Excel sheets, you got CRMs, like what's your?
You don't want to hear my answer in my
Yeah,
head. No one ever wants to hear my answer in my head.
There's no right answer, I'm just genuinely curious and just trying to, yeah. Yeah,
I love a good CRM.
yeah. Yeah,
For us, basically, Windows, we have a folder for each client, basically under our sales folder, we have quotes along with all of the other not needed information. Then we have year, client, and then project, and the project goes to a project number and stuff, and that's how we kind of keep everybody straight.
yeah.
I am curious though, who is using any quoting softwares?
What do you call them, quoting?
Yeah, well,
You tell me.
Well,
Yeah.
Excel works really well for quoting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's what we've been, I wrote a quick macro at our company to do quoting, so.
Is that integrated with StartPro? Like, do they
No.
have, they don't have quoting, or?
They
do
have
just-
quoting, yeah,
they just don't use it?
we have a really good system, so the way it works is we do a lot of repeat work, and so we're kinda different in this conversation, but, when my boss quotes everything, he can put in the part numbers and it pulls all the information from somewhere, and then he can hit the button that I created, and it makes a PDF, attaches it to an email, and it's ready to send off, so. It's nice and smooth, and he can do one in minutes, which is nice. But we're not breaking down like a brand new product that way, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, StartPro has the quoting as well, where if it's a new product, we're breaking it down that way, because we don't have the history of the pricing.
What are you using, Matt?
We've been on ProShop, and.
Oh, that's right,
Yeah, they have built-in estimating tools, and they can be a little bit cumbersome, but there's a lot of value in the data that supports repeat business and just understanding, more so after the fact, if we're hitting our quoted targets or not. And it provides a nice feedback loop to.
I forgot you guys did go with ProShop. I saw that post on the.
And that's kind of pre-populating the next step, right? Like if you get the order, you have some of your quote kind of hashed out, right?
Yeah, effectively, we're building out the router, which I think there are other tools that can get you to a quote faster. We're not as good as we should be at like setting up templates and doing the steps to accelerate the process.
But there's payoff to doing that, because if you get the order, you're gonna have to do that anyway. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but it's like,
StartPro works.
it's a balance on like the legwork versus the payoff. So if our win rate falls a lot, we're investing probably too much time building out all these unnecessary routers. And it's, sometimes we have a gut feel on like what a part's gonna cost as soon as we see the print or look at the model. And it's, well, we're gonna go through the exercise and put it in ProShop, and half the time it's like right where our gut feel was, and other times we're like, wow, this is spitting out a different answer. We have to like go in and investigate and kind of start to see why that is.
And just so everybody understands, like, when you break that, this is my feeling on this, and I've done it in other programs other than StartPro, but when you break it out, you're looking at like operation one, and you can just focus on that little part of this where you're not thinking about how much the material's costing, because you already took care of that, you're on to the next thing. So you're breaking it out, kind of building it so you can make this thing, and to me, it just makes a lot more sense to break it into small pieces, and then you can look at the big picture and like, all right, well, this part's $120, it's about what I thought it should be, or wow, that's pretty high, let me go back and see what's high. So it just helps your thought process, at least for me. I don't know if you guys are seeing that too.
It definitely helps, and it's something I'm excited as our team grows, we can set up some workflows where really, the quoting process is just information gathering, and it's pulling data from different sources, whether it's material vendors, outside services. I'm not the machinist. I think that's a benefit for us where like my hands aren't in a machine all day, so I can be responsive to quotes and focus on lead generation or whatever it may be. But my business partner needs to be involved in quoting. Like, he's the one who's going to decide how long something's going to take. In our system, we're not there yet, but it's close to kind of setting a workflow where like I could establish a quote, and then he would immediately be notified that he's got to input information, and like, I think that'll just improve the process as a whole, instead of me like chasing him down and us having to like review things together. You know, we'll still talk strategy and how something will flow through the shop, but, at the end of the day, like, he's gonna figure out at the machine level, which is our primary value add, how long something's gonna take.
Yeah, it's definitely good what you did. Yeah. 'Cause it keeps things moving.
But are you, like, when Ruby's quoting, are you, like, if you got a new project, are you telling him, like, how it's gonna be processed or how long it would take, or is he calculating all that and kind of just?
Yeah, I'm putting in my times, what I think it should be, and then we go over it again. So kind of what you're talking about, like
Yeah.
getting things in there, and sometimes we're not getting a material price. We have enough history of something that's close, and we're just throwing it in there, so we're not taking another day.
Yeah.
So,
And we do, there's plenty of situations where like if our maybe gut feeling is off, or we're trying to just understand market competitiveness, like we'll use the instant quoting tools that are out there too, that double check our work, or, you know, see if we're even in the same ballpark, like we can drop it into Xometry or Proto Labs or SendCut Send, and like that can be educational too.
that definitely.
I also like asking the customer if they have a ballpark.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
working
That's
at
like
ranges,
another
I
one
know,
for
sometimes
me.
I'll have to quote it all.
Yeah.
Do you get good responses from that, or some? Because we always talk about it, we don't do it often, but every time we're like, I wish I just knew.
It doesn't hurt to ask.
Okay.
Yeah, that's been my experience, cause worst they can say is like, I don't have anything for that, but.
Okay.
you know,
Especially if you're doing work for other machine shops that do the work like EMP, like I tell Brian Pence all the time, we would not be where we're at today if it wasn't for EMP. Not only did they give us their fixturing, their setup sheets, now I would write my own programs and stuff like that, but again, they would give us target pricing. And that helped out great in the very beginning. I mean, we were a startup shop, I didn't quote anything, and they're like, you want target? Absolutely. You know, like I had a guy reach out to me last week, and he said the same thing, target price, and he gave me target price, and I reached out, I'm like, hey man, it's just a little too low, you know, so.
Yeah, for me, cause I work in plastics, a lot of my stuff is consumer facing, you know, we're making mainly consumer products or parts for consumer products and stuff, so, you know, pretty much every time I'm like, hey, do you have a part price for this? Like, you know, what's your goal, what's your target for the quantity? Cause I mean, we're quoting anywhere from, you know, 5,000 parts. I've got a job right now where I'm quoting, or where I'm actually gonna be running 250,000 parts, out of that. So it's like, you know, margins are gonna be different, setup's gonna be different for everything, so, it's good to definitely know target price for everything, basically, if they have it.
Something I found helpful, Keith, like, if it's a new customer, especially, like, picking up the phone and calling them and using that as an opportunity to just learn as much as you can about the requirement, like, if it's something they've sourced before, if they have, like, well, why are you changing vendors, you know, would you be willing to share, like, where we need to be to win the work, you know, that, I find it's an easier conversation to have over the phone than just like email, hey, do you have target pricing, it's easy for the buyer to just say no, and like, let's see what they come back with.
Right.
To kind of piggyback off of that, our previous customer now, like partner, our sister company is actually our biggest customer right now. That's kind of how we're building up to be able to really go to outside sources. One of their biggest things, they've been using the same manufacturer in China for 25 years. So literally every single product, I'm like, hey, how much did you get this made? And I'm like, okay, like this is what's different. This is why it's different. And that's been super helpful. I've actually found there's like, of like the 2 or 3 current projects that I've got going for them right now, 1 or 2 of them I'm actually underpriced, you know, but I've got plenty of margin. I'm at like, you know, 80% margin on this project. So it's like, I don't know. So.
Going back to I wanna go back to that then, but going back to the CRM or Excel spreadsheets, I saw you guys kind of shake your heads and look at each other. And I'm just curious, you know, and again, like nobody's got it down perfect. Like everybody's learning. I started my thing and I'm like, I know I need a CRM for what I do because that's all I've ever used in sales. So that was the first thing I did. I suck at Excel, so I stay away from Excel unless I use ChatGPT to help me with it, or you, which I now learned. So, but yeah, just curious, you know, again for all you guys, the rest of you.
We use an ERP for like customers quotes and stuff like that, but for like leads, we really don't have any system. We just keep track of emails, like if they're not, you know, an established customer or not someone we've quoted for yet, we don't really have any good system.
And for quoting though, I know you guys have toolpath.com too, are you guys using that for quoting at all?
We use it, I guess you'd say we use it more for like time estimating than putting together like the actual.
Well, yeah,
quote.
yeah.
And then we're using InFab now as an ERP to put together like the full quotes and manage everything in the shop. So,
So when you guys have, when you, do a job and you generate this, you know, information based upon the job that you've done or whatever in the past, say 2 months or something, can't you use that information, you know, and just, you know, because a lot of these jobs, I don't wanna say they're similar, but they're similar size, similar hour-wise, like, you have some kind of a idea, right, based upon just that. You can get a part price pretty quickly based upon, like, cause one of you guys are machining it, right?
Yep.
So you can say, hey, look, I mean, I know this thing's gonna be like $25, $30, and, you know, we gotta do 2,000 of them, so, you know, maybe we could bring it down, like, how do you use that, just your past experience, and you can't use that just to get you close to where you need to be?
Yeah, and it definitely does, right, like he's more the machinist, so
Yeah.
I've been trying to do more of the
Cause I found
paperwork
like,
stuff.
even if you use like these systems, like, I don't feel like they're as accurate as a person that actually produced the part, because you know what's involved in that. So if you have somebody that's just, you know, and I'm not saying the systems are bad, because there's place for everything, but I feel like the intuition of the machinist or the intuition of the person or the engineer that's actually run the part, that had some experience, that actually made it, really adds value to it, because you're gonna lose your ass if you quote this thing, you know what I mean, and you don't get the job, or you quote it too low, and you know, you kinda have to have a general idea, otherwise you're, you know, regardless of the system, you know what I mean? 'Cause
It's not mutually exclusive, it's not like relying on the system and not the
No,
machinist.
but you know what I'm
The
saying,
data
so
is
there
all
has to be like
integrated.
there has to be some kind of experience wrapped up in that. It can't be just the system, it can't be just like, you have to have some experience base that's input into that.
Yeah, I think
It is easier when you, like your shop or my shop,
Yeah,
because we do 1, 2, 3 pieces.
yeah. I mean, I
And
still
most
go
of them
from
are
like,
gonna be
you
from
know,
the same industry.
yeah.
So when you look at the part, I mean, I'd be over $20, you know.
Yeah. But you see what I'm saying, so I mean, it can vary slightly, you know, depending upon part quantity or part, you know, complexity or whatever, but overall, you know what the material value cost is, you know how long it's gonna take to process these parts. You know, you have a system in place to, you know, evaluate that, so to say, and it's just a matter of like quoting it. It's, you know what I mean, I don't think it's as complicated as people make it seem to be, at least for me it isn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're starting to figure it out, and kind of what I was getting at before is, like, Xometry we didn't quote. And it was constantly, like, we had a shitty spreadsheet and made it work for the first couple jobs, and now we're getting busier, we've adopted an ERP, but he's the machinist, he's got the manufacturing background. I can run a machine, I can set up simple parts, but I'm really trying to be, like Matt's saying, like, on the office side, sales, lead generation, stuff like that, but in doing that, our goal is I wanna be able to quote a job accurately enough that he can look at it for a half hour, really good, send it. So he can stay in the shop run, so that's where we're trying to develop the
Yeah.
system between the
Yeah.
two of us, just to
Yeah,
keep
working
keep our
together is
machine
important,
running.
yeah.
That's one of our goals, is to try to keep, you know,
Absolutely.
we have 3 machines, but
Yeah.
there could be a day where one's running for a little bit because we're packing, or he's helping with, so just trying to get to that point a little bit.
Definitely.
How long do you guys usually spend quoting?
For me, I mean, or just in general,
Anyone
everybody?
that wants to try it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know,
I mean, depending on the size of the packet, I'd probably say a good couple hours. You know?
really, yeah, I mean, I'd say, I don't even say 20 minutes. I just know it, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to like brag or whatever, but like, you know, if it's a part that I've seen before, it's similar size to another part, and it's like, I know the material, I know the quantity, I know how long it's gonna take me to make these parts, and I know what like is involved with like, you know, getting good tolerances, making sure that the part's gonna come out the way I want it to. Again, it's different in a prototype world because you're only doing several of them, but you know, there's not as much fixturing involved. It's a lot more unique setup situations where you're using everything you have, like knowledge-wise, to get it so that you can get it done as quickly it's a little bit different than in a production environment, but the bottom line is, I mean, I think a lot of you guys, especially, you know, once you run a shop for a year, or probably not even that long, I mean, you can look at a part and just be like, I can tell you how much that's gonna be, you know, and if it doesn't hit that margin, I'll be like, I don't want it.
Yeah.
It's not even worth my time. And that's, I feel like a lot of people, they make a mistake by like, well, I need to work, you know, but you're better off sometimes just to walk and take a job that makes sense, because you're gonna end up, you're turning the gears and not making any money.
Yeah.
And people think it's like, wow, I got all this work, you know, it's great, but yeah, are you making anything? Did you make any money? You know what I mean? So I think that's a lot of times what people, you know, they misinterpret, you know, having a big account with somebody, but how much profit did you actually make? How much money did you actually make at the end of the year off of that? You know what I mean? Because yeah, spin the gears. What's it gonna do? You know, that's the way I see it anyway. But a lot of people see it a little, you know, some people see it differently. They see it like, oh, you know, well, that's an established customer. I have a good lead. I have the ability to, you know, pull from that in the future. But I don't know. I just feel like if the profit isn't there and there isn't enough like margin for it, why even waste your time? You know what I mean?
You got the store born every so often. Look, I do a lot of parts and it goes in the machines,
Yeah,
and they call me and they got the machine label.
yeah,
I do it for free.
yeah.
You just be nice with the customer, you know, it doesn't take me much, yeah.
I think there's a certain amount of like generosity you can provide to a customer, but beyond a certain point, again, it's, I don't wanna say it sounds kind of rough, but it's kind of a waste of time. You know, you're just doing nothing.
You gotta be
I-
open too, like, if
Yeah.
you're doing a lot of free work and you go out of business, you're not supporting
Well,
the
that's-
customer anymore.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say, like,
that's
gotta
fine,
really-
but if you know, if you
it's
got
just
a
tough, you know?
$20,000 job, and you got a label, $5, you know, I mean,
But I think there's a difference where, like on a job by job basis within a given customer, it may not necessarily be about maximizing profit, but like we'll look at the total scope of a customer, and if we do 10 different jobs for them, and one of them might be a little more of a loser than others, like we'll absorb that cost and then recognize that, hey, this customer's still contributing 30+% margin to our business.
I'm not saying, you know, like what I give them, it's $5
Right.
per job, you know, it might, to me, it's not, it's nothing.
No, it
I
is
got all
nice,
the
but you also
setups
have to,
worked out,
you know,
because those
also
are
like,
5
you
minutes.
know, take care of it.
Give them a $5.
Depends what you have going on, you know, I mean, everybody.
They don't look for nobody else, you
So,
know.
I had a customer reach out to me last week, they had some shaft that broke, and they're like, oh, we need this repaired. Okay, I might be able to get it in the machine Thursday. Oh, we need it by Tuesday. All right, if you bring it here Friday, I can have it done on Monday, $1,500. Oh my God, why so outrageous? You're having me break down my machine, and you give me 1% of my yearly revenue. Why am I gonna give to you, like you said, you have to know when to give back and when not. What? Oh, that's outrageous. Really, it's only double the price of my machine for the day. That's really not that bad. You know, like you want me to stop work for my other customers who are giving me a lot more work than you. They're like, oh, well, I understand now, I guess. I hope so. Oh yeah, I'll break down their job for $1,500 in one day. Sure, absolutely. You know? I forgot about that guy. So.
You guys are like already going ahead on my slides with all your questions and answers, so this is great. I'm probably
But
just gonna show.
Patrick and Keith, I will say, I mean, again, he sounds like he's a very smart person. He quotes stuff. That's not me. It did take me a little longer. The one thing is get it down now before you hire people, because obviously you're paying yourself the same rate whether you work 50 hours a week or 70 hours a week. So figure that shit out now, because once you bring someone on, that's what I learned. That's when you really have to get accurate on your time, because again,
And also,
you're paying them to be there. You need them to produce at a good rate.
as you grow, you know, like, don't be afraid to actually charge people, you know, like, a lot of people are afraid to, like, actually make some money, you know, like, you're in business to make money. Especially if it's complex with the material there. Let them go to another shop, let them see what their shop starts, because a lot of times they're hiring things, yeah.
Part of what they come from construction,
Yeah.
a lot of money. Especially if you work out, lightning, I think, with people was kind of looking at jobs and stuff like that. Like, that's not.
Yeah, we don't get paid enough.
So, where it's, but yeah.
That's good to have that code, but it's like, yeah, utilize that, don't break that down.
It seems like the word that I had to put on my whole thing with the state, and I keep it on, and then I'm out of it, and figure out what that scale are, and those up right to the job, oh, look, too long, that's too expensive, I don't want that, but.
You gotta pay for the office.
Yeah,
I wanna go back to, you guys were talking about asking for pricing up front, right? So you're target pricing up front. So what about you ask for it, you don't get it, you quote the job, and you don't get the job? What are you doing after? Is anything being communicated after that point?
Well, I have one experience with that where, all right, I quoted the job, I ran the job. I forget whether they upped the quantity or lowered the quantity, so I think that, again, I realized that my price, I needed to make a little bit more on the part. I charged a little bit more for the part. I lost the job that time. I was a little upset with that. You know, again, well, I'm trying to build customer relationships, and I relayed that. And he's like, well, I don't want to get in that. I understand that you don't want to get in that, well, he did it cheaper. If you're trying to build a customer relationship with someone, in my opinion, you go back to the guy that did it originally. Hey, Brett, someone got this price. Do you want to match that? If you match, you can have the job. If not, we understand. That's the type of relationship. There's another customer where, again, I tried using the quoting software. Hey, this is my number. Let me know if something doesn't jive. Brett, you worry too effing much. We pay 65 right now for shit. Why don't you go to 60-50, which was above my number, and we're both happy. And again, I know that's not going to be every customer. You know, you're not going to get that. But I am lucky that I have a nice customer relationship with almost all my customers. I don't have to go after them for money really too much, except for that one, again, that I had a conversation with today. But again, that's a brand new customer, and I want to do work for them, and that's why I called them. Hey, let's make this mutual. You guys like my work. You obviously came back to me to quote it again. Let's make it beneficial to both of us, you know, obviously. And they were, like I said, they were really responsive to that. So I was like, all right, I'll quote the next package, you know.
I feel exactly the same way. That's what I do. That's what I do. You try to build a relationship with the customer. I got one customer, I've been doing a lot of waiting work directly. And a few of the jobs I did, I stuck like crazy. And I need to get paid for what I'm doing. So I think it's high. Nope, that's okay. God will work for you. It's like, okay, good.
Yeah, I've learned in all my sales experience that it never hurts to just keep following. Even if you don't win the job, you don't get the target price, you don't get the information, you still send a quote, hey, how did my quote work? And 9 times out of 10, they're going to give you something. You kind of feedback, and just then you just continue to build that customer relationship.
Yeah, be careful with it. You get really, you know, I mean, as a person who works in personal time as well, it's like, look, you know, you guys clean up all the time, you know what I mean? I sometimes don't, I'll be honest with you, I don't respond to those sometimes, because I feel like it's like, look, you guys had a shot, and they can sometimes be way overpriced, you know what I mean? And just because they're a bigger company, they're like, I ain't gonna fucking know when I do this, and I just have to, you know what I mean? It's like, no, I'm not giving you anything, because they do that on purpose, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, they don't want the, you know, whatever it is. I don't know, I feel like a lot of times there's some value in like not the people. Because I feel like it's you know, whatever. Maybe that's just me, but I feel like they go too far with it sometimes. They try to pull information from me to try to like increase their, you know, their ability to screw you in a different way. But you know, you just have to be careful, because a lot of times that data, that information you're sharing with these people, you know, they're using it against you. So you have to be careful with what you're doing, and don't be so free to give out that information.
But don't be afraid, because there was one customer that reached out to me, and we did work for them, and I thought we knocked it out of the ballpark, and then I never saw another RFQ from them.
Yeah.
And I listened to that guy, Alex from Moorsey, the bodybuilder, and he's like, there's this gym, and they had all the clientele, and then another gym opened up, not that, and everyone went there. The only reason they were going to that one gym was for convenience. So I'm like, all right, let me reach out to them. Hey guys, you know, I thought we knocked it out of the park. Is there any feedback, good or bad?
Yeah.
Brett, I talked to everyone and down the line, your work was great, we'll try to give you more RFQs. It doesn't hurt to reach out, just be like, hey man, I think I'll take any badness, let me know if I did something bad, so you can learn from bad too.
Yeah, my quotes get very complex. I mean, I can have up to 30 line items for like a consumer product. I've got one product right now, it's like a hairbrush. It's got 26 line items on it between molds and the assembly and everything like that. You know, and I break that down per line item for each operation or component and stuff. I always ask, because of the complexity of my quotes, hey, do you have any questions? You know, do you like, I do a 1 week follow-up for 2 weeks. If I don't hear anything from them, then I do every 2 weeks for, I think 3 times. Then I reach out one more time, like a month later, and if I don't hear anything, then I consider the quote dead, essentially. But like, you know, most of my clients, by that second week, it's like, oh, sorry, like, you know, my purchasing team, or like I had my engineering team look at it. We had questions about this, this, and this. Like, you know, is there anything we could change or could do? Like, you know, and it's helpful for me just because of the complexity. I'm trying to source things that I'm not used to sourcing. Like, I'm not a spring manufacturer. I have to go to these spring manufacturers and find it, or I have to go to these hardware companies to find that stuff. Like, please give me this information. If the bolts are too high, I'll find somebody else who might be a better price. Or, you know, oh, you need stainless instead. Okay, I'll go find something, you know, different because you didn't tell me that info before. You know, I can't give them the best quality of quote without their feedback, especially with the complexity of my stuff. And it probably happens the same in prototyping in some way or shape.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that you know, in your case, there is definitely more involved, but you know, on a smaller scale, it's like I think people generally know where they need to be and what price. I think it's not as complicated as people make it sound. I think they try to overcomplicate it so they can get out of like trying to say, oh, it was this or that. A lot of it's just bullshit. You know what I mean? They do that on purpose. And I think a lot of it, especially when you have a smaller shop, they think that you're inexperienced or that you don't have the knowledge, and they're just gonna try to screw you. You know what I mean? But I'm not saying that's the case all the time. But I've found that, you know, I'm not as, I shouldn't say as easygoing as like, oh yeah, sure, I'm gonna give you this information. You know, you screwed me now I'm gonna give it to you. No, I don't think so. But I think a lot of people do that. You know what I mean? I feel like it's, I don't know. I mean, they did it on purpose and it was intentional, so why would I do that? You know what I mean? I don't know,
What
maybe that's
information
just.
is this, Kurt? Like, I'm a little lost, I guess. Like, what information are you giving out that's like?
No, it's not that it's really compromising. I just feel like they're trying to, they, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm wording it wrong, but I feel like sometimes people, you know, like, they're intentionally giving you these quotes on these, you know, like, let's say you're sourcing this work out and they're giving you these huge numbers on it, and it's like, I think they're doing it on purpose, and then they want you to come back and like, you know, give them all this data on it, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know if you know what I mean, but.
What data are they asking for?
Well, it's.
Just like your own pricing, or like,
Yeah, I think so.
if you're high, they're asking like, why is it high, or?
Yeah, I think so, and it's like, I think it's sometimes better off just to like walk and not have to deal with it, and to like explain yourself, because I feel like you kind of get yourself into a bind and you're trying to explain yourself too much, and it becomes like a.
Especially if they're that far.
Yeah,
Like, it
it's
sounds
not-
like they're like 2 times the price that you're getting
That's
from
what I'm trying
somebody
to say,
else.
like, they feel like.
Why even explain to them,
Exactly.
like, you're just way out of the ballpark. You messed
You got
up.
it,
So.
and I think they did it intentionally, you know, not always, but I've been in that.
Sometimes it's just their processes too. Cause I've worked
Maybe.
places where they do a lot of production work and then they'd get a quote something for like 2 parts and the price would be ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they had to go through their production process and it just doesn't work that way, but that's what the price
I
comes
think
out
that's
to
what
be.
that's what I mean.
So it could be some of that and it could be some of the, we don't want this work, so I'm
I
just gonna
think
give
that's
you
a
a
lot
really
of
high
it too.
price.
It's like, I don't want this kind
Yeah.
of thing.
But then they shouldn't call you to
Well,
see
that's
it.
what I'm trying to say, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a little bit of both, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of larger companies do it to smaller companies, and they do it on purpose on this. Maybe not, but sometimes I do feel like that, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Maybe not.
Yeah, there's not much to talk about if it's twice the price.
Yeah.
You know,
Does pretty much everyone deliver quotes via email, or is anyone like calling?
facts.
No, I don't know. Yeah.
Cut the language, that's all.
You breaking out the beeper too there, Ken? You breaking out the beeper too?
No, I try to avoid.
Keith and Patrick, do you guys know what a beeper is?
I don't know if I've ever seen. Yeah.
Quick, I gotta run and find a phone now.
I think you make a great point though, like there is times when, like I work in the fab shop world more than here, but there's times where we overcomplicate our quotes. And like, we quoted something the other day and they were quoting it for TIG welding, and then we showed up to the customers like, does this actually need to be TIG welded? Can we TIG weld it? Can we do, like, sometimes, you know, there is those points where maybe that company just doesn't want the quote, or they just are blowing it out. But then there is genuine companies out there like, just help me figure out where I'm at. Maybe I am double the price, but okay, help me come down. Did I do my process right? Or maybe I have a drafting fee in here that, can we get rid of that? You know, can we chisel it down a little bit? But
And it's sometimes hard to feel whether or not the company's authentic about what they're trying to ask for, you know what I mean? And then you're like wasting all this time to try to go back and forth for something that's really, you know.
Who comes to company? I do it all the time.
I mean, I worked for a company and we ended up doing work for a bearing company, and we quoted bronze cages when they needed the roller pockets put in there. And I guess we programmed, you know, we were thinking about milling it because there's a thin wall, and again, we were really high. And I wasn't even involved in the quoting process over there, but again, we were really high. We checked it out again, we were still high, and then they finally came over and they told us how they do it with just coming right down on the, with an insert drill. And then I'm like, that actually works? Like, that shit don't bend? Like, they're like, no. I'm like, all right, if that works. And again, they showed us their process, and then all right, well, if that's your process, we can match that, you know, like.
That's a good example of when you're gonna be way high on something too.
Yeah.
Like, how are you making this? Like, yeah, that kind of stuff. So.
No, but so again, the rivet holes, they would actually do them first and then put a lid on to support the thin tangs, and they would just come down with an insert drill right on that freaking rib of the freaking bronze cage, and that shit would work.
Okay.
You know?
I wanna kind of direct us back to like the quoting, when to quote, when to push back, when to walk away. So a lot of different shops in here, a lot of different positions in the shops. You know, what to you is absolutely we're quoting this right away. What to you is hold the phone, let's back up a second, take a look at this, and what is a red flag, or do you not have any red flags that come in that you should? So kind of feel free to kind of, hey, what's good, what's in, and what's not good.
I'll start with our our first pass on any RFQ or part is, are we fundamentally going to be good at running this and better than the competition? Because that's like where we create value for our customers. If our process or our machinery is well suited to it, we can drive higher throughput, our cost structure can be lower. You know, we can inspect the part effectively, control the process. We can win work that like we can sustain. And then there's kind of a second category of jobs that, okay, we can make this, but we're gonna suck at it. Like, we have little mill turn machines. They're not good at production labor. Like, I could make a lot of these parts, but we would be taking work that likely we're quoting hot. We have less margin in, and the customer's not even gonna be happy because they can probably find another source that is just gonna be better. And then there's kind of the last category of like, we can't do it, or it's not strategic to our business, that, you know, we just, no quote. And sometimes it's an evaluation with the customer, like if all their work is like that, like, let's just acknowledge we're not a fit. If maybe there's some other work that we know is in there that's hiding that we could be good at, we'll tell them, you know, why we're not a good fit for this, what we might be able to do, you know, if they're open to letting us evaluate other projects. And I tend to find like most buyers find that a little bit refreshing as opposed to just trying to quote everything. There are some buyers that, you know, want a one-stop shop, and like, we're not gonna be that in most cases, but that's kind of a choice we're making intentionally, that we'll focus on what we're good at.
How quickly can you decide, hey, this is a red flag, walk away?
I mean, usually that's less than 2 minutes.
Okay.
Sometimes they're like gotchas on the drawing that, you know, if we find that there's a tolerance that maybe it needs to be ground, or there's some inspection requirement that like, we just know we're not gonna be able to hit, we have to dive a little bit deeper. But I mean, if we're focusing on that like 5-axis part within a 6-inch cube work envelope, like, most of the is too big, like, we go quote a lot of work, just like, nope, not gonna fit, like, it physically will not work in our machines. Or if it's like too simple work that, you know, would just be better to run on a 3-axis mill, or maybe there's a prototyping shop that's better at like hitting the quantities, and it isn't worth it for us to do like an intense setup, like, that stuff that will no quote or pass it.
I come from the sales side, so everything to me is a great opportunity. There are no red flags. So everybody normally hates me because I'm like, yeah, you can do this, why can't we do it? But there's a little bit of, I think, good in that though too, because sometimes, like, I like to challenge where I came from previously. Like, I had a team of project managers, and I'm the sales manager, and I'm bringing them a project, and they're like, nope, we can't do it. I'm like, hold on, like, can we do it? Like, half the time you just don't want to quote it, you don't want to waste the time, but is there potential here? Can we, okay, do we need to, you know, invest in something? You know, what is it that maybe we can look a little bit further beyond that? So, red flags aren't always necessarily a bad thing, I would say, but.
I forgot a fourth category of like, no, we absolutely should not do this, it's a damn cool application.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
my life's right, someone's
Yes.
like, oh, this part's going
Yes,
on the
it's
site.
going in SpaceX. I want this.
That stuff that you sent me not that long ago, I don't wanna say anything about it, but that was the same thing. It's like, I'd love to take on that work, but again, so that's my big thing. I know, quote, work I could possibly do, but it's gonna be too time consuming for me when I'm trying to train my operators and stuff like that. Cause even my original business partner, again, he was a button pusher, he came a long way. He went down, I was training Daniel, my daughter's boyfriend, on the lathe, that took time. Then I started over again when I bought my business partner out. So that's why I'm kinda excited for this other guy coming on, cause I know, again, for me to expand the company, I also have to get out of my niche. I need to do those jobs where they intrigue me, and I might scrap a couple parts, but now I learned from that job, you know, like, I wanna get into that, but it's the personnel that I need to do that.
Sure. Yeah, going back to that original question, anybody else, you know, jobs that come in, they look great, jobs that are like, hold up, and any red flags, and how do you kind of handle those situations?
I guess for us, green flags, or if they have CAD files, typically, like, if they have CAD files, perfect, I can quote everything in like 15 minutes.
Do they have good CAD?
Well,
That's the real question.
that's the real question.
Somebody's gotta teach me what that even is. 'Cause, like, I send the guys a CAD file, I'm like, here it is, and they're like, this is terrible. I'm not looking at it, just, you can figure it out.
Let me put it this way, we literally, even if we get a 3D model, we literally redo everything.
I have that all the time.
I'm a little particular about
Yeah,
that.
so that is a normal thing, that's
Many
maybe more my
reasons.
question.
I got one the other day that was like 3 gigabytes,
Mhm.
because they'd like poorly modeled some spline feature,
Yeah.
and it was just like out of control.
Yeah.
It was just like, clearly there's, you know, this is one of like 10 red flags, we haven't even uncovered the
Well,
other.
that was my red flag. If the drawing's not clear, if it's missing information, you know it's gonna be 10 times back and forth just to get that information. And a lot of times, if you're going purchasing, they have no idea who the
Right.
drawing person was, and they can't get the information, and that's just quick, no.
Yeah.
But,
Title block tolerance of like 0.01 millimeters.
well, hold on a minute. That's right down our alley.
Yeah, sorry, that's what you guys look for, right?
We don't look for it. Yeah, almost every drawing in our shop is right around plus or minus 1/10,000th of an inch,
Yeah.
so it's crazy how we deal with it, but
Yeah,
if nobody else wants to do it, it usually lands on our lap. Yeah,
good to know.
yeah, it's not like we wanna do some of it. At least I don't wanna do some of it. But yeah, any bad information, missing information, that's a huge red flag, because there's a lot of communication that's gotta go around about that. And you may not get the right information, and if you deliver and it's not right, now you're in this whole loop. It's a mess.
More worried about like, when you get an RFQ, and then they have in like 6 different notes about things to do that aren't on the print.
Yeah, that's
Like, that's
Yes.
terrifying.
Yeah, if you can't spend the hour to make a nice drawing with all those notes, yeah, that's a problem too.
Mhm.
Yeah. I talked to one of our old co-ops, and their engineering department, they like redline and update PDFs. They don't even go into CAD to update this stuff, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty bad. It's not that hard. Yeah, a lot of that stuff is very painful if you have to deal with it.
Mhm.
But you can also, you can also gain a good customer that way too. If you can get in with the engineer and kind of teach them what needs to be done to help you out, they really appreciate that and they will stick with you.
What if you turn into like the legacy provider that has all the tribal knowledge for the stuff, like, you know, if they send that print out to another shop, they'll get it wrong?
I'm dealing with that right now. Yeah, I've got a customer, oh my god, I'm working with files that are 20 years old, and it's like,
I had someone send me a prototype of a hammerhead. Alright, prototype of a hammerhead, I actually gotta get back to him. But I told him, I said, hey, listen, this probably deserves a phone call. I said, the way you have this, I said, if you're going for just prototypes and just wanna make a couple, that's fine. But if you're gonna go to production, I said, that center, the eye thing in the center is gonna have to be wired, that's gonna be expensive. I said so we had a conversation on the phone. He's like, alright, fine, do that, alright, and do this. And he's like, alright, fine, just do that and we're good, send me a quote, you know?
Yeah.
But there's just no manufacturability in the way, I mean, this thing was like 6 inches long, 2 inches high, you know?
That's that relationship with the engineers that you
Yeah.
can get in with and
He
help
was just
them.
appreciative that I called him back, because he's like, you're the first one that even got back to me,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, everybody else looks at it like, this is crazy, I'm not doing this.
But then with some engineers, you're gonna get that, you know, ability to do that, but then there's other engineers that they do not wanna talk to you. They just.
Right, because they don't want the responsibility of saying yes and having it fall on them.
Exactly.
Yes.
For sure.
The engineer, if you got a good relationship with the engineer, engineers don't hang around in one place too long. They move, you move with them.
That was my next thing, and that's a real, the one company I worked for, that's how we had a lot of our customers, like, either one engineer, 2 engineers, and it winds up spreading out, and you have like 3, 4 customers from helping one engineer with a bad drawing or some notes or something, so, or manufacturability, it's a big deal, yeah.
Well, even with the OSG test, when the guy from OSG that wrote the program was rather new to writing programs, and I helped him out because he couldn't find a couple things in Mastercam, or I told him, you know, like, he only finished like the back. I'm like, well, you only finished the back, finish the front, because now people can see it, they don't have to reach in. I just stupid little shit like that, but I was just giving him little pointers just to help him out, you know? He definitely appreciated it.
It makes them look better at their job, so.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they'll appreciate it, hopefully.
Yeah.
And if not, you probably don't want them as a customer.
Very good.
And it was nice when I worked at the tool and die shop, because some of those guys, they would actually come down and be like, hey, no, you can't put a 1/8 radius through a 4-inch block. Come on, man. Like, that has to get wired. Like, let's open that up. Let's blow out the corner. Let's do something. Like,
You can do it in CAD.
Yeah, that's
all anything.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I think I've noticed, and sometimes it takes you a little bit looking at a drawing to realize, but CAD programs are so available, these instant like Xometry, which, you know, we utilize on the other end, but you do a model, you can upload it, Xometry's gonna spit you out a price.
Yeah.
Some of the features though are stupid, some of the tolerances are stupid, they don't matter, but people don't know, and there's automatic tolerancing and dimensioning features, and you'll get this crazy dimension and tolerance part that there's like one hole in it. But everything, you know,
The default is set to 4 decimals.
yeah, it's like, you know, right, you know, we're looking at some drawings for, like, real drawings right now, and it's a little refreshing, because it makes sense, you can tell what matters, you know, so, but that's something that I think it takes us a little bit sometimes to pick up on, because you do that when you don't find it, but that's a red flag for us, it's, you know, it's just not worth getting into sometimes.
Yeah.
And even sometimes, I'll say sometimes modeling something in 3D from a 2-dimensional drawing, you can see a lot of issues there too, that you can't see right away. But if you're trying to model it and it's really tough because of that, you probably don't want to take that.
tough to model.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough to get.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any good, like, model-based definitions or minimally dimension prints, does this reference the model?
yeah, every now and then I'll get that.
Couple I've looked at. It's scary, I mean, we've done some of it, it's definitely scary, and then, like, you gotta be good at, like, CMM inspection too. Like, those are things that challenge us, kind of bake in, like, an engineering cost associated.
Yeah, that's what we do. Giving very little info for whatever reason.
Because it's easy.
I get it, you know there's a drawing somewhere, right, like eventually we found out.
The drawing takes time.
Yeah, that's true.
Patrick and Keith, I don't know if I told you, not that long ago, I designed a fixture from pictures. I didn't get any pictures, no sizes, no, I got pictures, I'm like, all right, that looks like 4 inches, that looks
He
like.
was showing me, he's not lying, this is exactly.
They were happy with it, well, I'm like, I had pictures, that was it.
Couldn't like set it on a ruler or something. The set cut set banana for scale.
He actually built it for him that way too.
Oh yeah, I think it came out nice. It was a simple design, but I don't design too much. It was a little slide mechanism, a little torque wrench for a breakaway thing, but, yeah, all from a picture.
Alright, so, quoted the job, willing the job, everything's great, we got through our red flags, got through everything. Now what? What's your follow-up process after that? Is it happen realistically? Couple weeks we're checking in, is it gonna work, or is it just kind of going the wayside? Is the process moving forward? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we have I'll deliver the quote, and a lot of times I will call a customer and say, like, hey, you have this in your inbox, you know, if they got set, let's walk through it, especially for the first time quote. Repeat stuff like, hit send, see what happens, but usually I'll tell a customer, like, let me know if you have any questions, if I don't hear from you otherwise, I might follow up in 2 days, and I think then it's not surprised when I call 2 or 3 days later. You know, I think it makes it more likely to that they'll give feedback, knowing that I'm gonna love them. There's a little bit of like a view, like life touches, depending on how much we want to work. Something we don't want, maybe it's like go silent. But one thing I found pretty effective, we're quoting a job and maybe it's like 14-time job, it's a couple weeks. I'll make a note to follow up on the data as part of the first review. And I'll just ask the customer, like, hey, we're talking about this part here, you guys in another direction, like, how'd you like the parts that were delivered? Like 9 times out of 10 so far, it's been like, oh, we got not here, like, yeah, it's not surprised. Yeah, we're still, like, we aren't perfect at it, but a lot of times we're all, get caught up and stuff slips back, I find myself like, way better at this if I schedule out for 30 minutes or do the stuff home before I like go to the job. That's our general process.
How are you scheduling that? That's a great idea.
How am I scheduling the follow-up
Yeah,
activities?
you should put it in your calendar.
Goes to our CRM. So what about that? Yeah, it's like, our CRM is like by far our least organized system because I'm the only one using it, and I want to get to the point where that's not the case. Like, we have someone like a customer account manager role where they can be in there and we have full visibility on everyone's activities. But I don't know, like coming from a sales background, like the CRM is just like a must-have for me, and it's also like it's low cost. Like we pay HubSpot $20 a month, but I think there's a free version that has some pretty powerful tools too related to like email open tracking, website visits, knowing who's coming. It's stuff we're not using anywhere near to its capability, but it's generally better than nothing.
Yeah, that's still a really good process. Following up on the date that it's due is what you say. It shows that you're thinking about that.
Yeah, it definitely like helps keep us running line.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes, I guess one time it was like, oh yeah, we got the parts over it, cheaper than what you guys could offer, so. Alright. Well, that's good. Thanks, like, I don't know. I don't like getting told no, but that's fine.
That's a great point, though. I mean, that's, my business lives and dies by a CRM. Now, if you go look at my tasks, you would realize that I don't live and die by my CRM all the time. But like everything I do, I have to just keep that follow-up because I'm, you know, I have 5 different companies that I work with, and they have 100 customers and 20. You know, it's before you know it, you guys are quoting. Before you know it, it gets lost in your email. It's 30 emails down. It's the next week. Oh shoot, totally forgot about that. And 3 weeks later, you know, now you're on something else. So yeah, like you said, it's low cost. There's many different options out there.
I think where it does help me find some balance is like prioritizing the bigger opportunities because we get a high frequency of quotes from customers that we're not going to do a lot of revenue with, like just the nature of their jobs. But I could spend all day talking to those guys or quoting their stuff and I could feel busy, but but the CRM will point us back in the direction of, no, go after these guys that have the ability to place POs that are gonna fill 50% of your capacity really quick and, you know, be high value work. I guess that's just something that, like, the CRM is probably most valuable for right now.
Yeah.
It's an organized to-do list, right? That's, cause you can prioritize and,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, so it's just communication management more than anything. So having like really good history and detailed notes, which is something that I'm slacking on right now. I think it's, you know, tracking opportunities, like creating different deals and navigating through stages. There's automation that you can add, so instead of even me being the one to directly follow up, like could have kind of an email sequence that would go out. But that's all like, I don't know, that's far deeper than like what we're using it for. But it can be powerful. But now like just with AI, like a lot of people are, I think are like building out like ChatGPT, like just logs, and like ChatGPT can recall, you know, the last conversation to tell you like who you should be following up with. So I don't know, maybe like CRMs aren't even gonna be around in 5 years.
Yeah. And there's so much AI even in those CRMs now too, like it's just insane what's in there. And the email, like being able to see if somebody read your email, that's huge. Like for me, I'm sending out, I might send out 100 emails a day, and then I go a week later and I look at that, I'm like, well, I'm 6 emails in with this person, maybe not opened my email once. Okay, it's the wrong person to talk to. Or, you know, if they initiated the conversation, that's different. But for me, reaching out cold, if I see that, I'm like, nobody's even touched my email. Wrong person, let's find somebody else within the organization. So, yeah, there's so many tools in there, you can get lost and you can get tasks that just build up to nowhere. But especially for follow-up and then long-term follow-up, you win that job, you follow up a week later, great. Schedule it out in 3 months again, or 2 months, or whatever you decide. You know, check in again. Because again, you did that job one time, and 3 months down the road, you might totally forget about that customer because you're busy doing other things. So.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, what two CRMs are you two using? You said
I'm on HubSpot.
HubSpot?
I use Pipedrive. So where I came from, and I've used, I think, every CRM known to man. I was in the car business for 10, 11 years, so had to live by a CRM. You have to have follow-up, you have to keep that communication going. And then went in manufacturing, and I show up my first day, and I'm like, okay, where's the CRM system? They're like, yeah, we have an ERP system that has customer information. You can maybe schedule tasks. And like, no, we need something.
What was the name of yours? I'm sorry.
Pipedrive.
Like Monday is another popular one. We go crazy and bring Salesforce in here.
personally, I think that's one of the issues with small shops, is staying organized. Like, these are the RFQs I gotta do, these are the quotes I have to do, you know, all this stuff that has to get done, and if you don't have it in front of you at all times, it's really hard to keep up with everything, cause somebody's asking you a question, or, you know, material's coming in and it's falling off the forklift, and you're dealing with that, and you get off track really easily, and if you can just go to a page that's why I asked if it's kind of like a to-do list, like these are my tasks that I need to do in this form, you know, and just deal with it.
It's still really challenging though, because the follow-up, like for our business, is really high impact, but it's low priority. So it's in like
Right.
the wrong like it's easier to do the like not really meaningful impact stuff. Like I could spend all day just washing parts.
Right.
And I feel accomplished, but like I don't know, I
It's not.
need to like find a way to better prioritize, and I guess having a task list does help, but I still am good at like pushing it off till 4:30 and like, oh, now's a bad time to make calls anyway.
But I'm talking about across the whole shop. Like, if I send 3 RFQs out for material quotes, I gotta remember to follow up on them, because if neither of them answer, I don't have material on my floor to make parts that I need to ship. So that's what I'm talking about, like these lists to keep us on track.
You could definitely use it for vendor communication too. Like, I mean, mine just grabs every email I send and it's in there to like create a contact, so it's organized by contact and company, and it does a lot of that for you, which is pretty powerful.
Yeah, I think it's important, because I know a lot of people in here are doing more than one job, so. It definitely makes it hard to stay focused.
Yeah, it can pull your files in, it can pull your email in, it can pull everything into one place, so you're not going from Gmail to Excel to here to there. Every And like for me, I create, I have my pipelines and deal pipelines of like, okay, I reached out, we're quoting, we want, like you kind of can separate that too as where it's in the process too. So every CRM is very similar. They all basically do the same thing. They just look a little bit different. So I really don't say you can go wrong with anything. But you can say something is better than nothing. But at the end of the day, it's all about the follow-up too. Like if you're not continuing to keep that communication going, they're gonna die off and they're gonna go find somebody else because they'll forget about you too. So.
Just share another follow-up that's been helpful. Like we do build custom fixtures for a lot of our parts, whether it's just simple as a soft jaw or something I don't know more complicated to nest parts or make life easier. If we don't hear from a customer within like 3 months after we've run parts, like we'll almost always reach out and say, hey, we're thinking about like repurposing this fixture and should we get rid of it or do you see like repeat demand? And like that's just something that we've seen them say, oh no, like don't kill off that fixture, like we're gonna order these in another 3 months. Where if I just tell them like, hey, are you, do you see anything coming through related to this part? Usually it's just crickets, but
Yeah.
I did that with the Rams parts.
like, hey, the fixture's gonna die, like.
Those mill parts that I do for you, I thought that was gonna be a one-time job, so after I got done the fixture, I had Blaine repurpose it, then you place another order, I'm like, are you kidding me, man, I gotta make the fixture again. Now it's a set fixture.
Put it in your CRM and follow up.
Yeah.
Alright. Last thing I wanna hit on is just lead generation in general. Like, how are you guys finding work? Is it social media, is it the website? Word of
Social
mouth?
media, word of mouth. Earlier, I honestly don't get a ton of RFQs. A lot of my work is actually repeat work now where customers are just, hey Brett, we need 50 of these, here's the PO. Awesome, thanks. And then again, just communication. Gil Probelli Industries, he retired not that long ago. He sold his business and he gave me a couple of his smaller customers. Not only that, but he gave me like fixturing and tooling to run the parts and stuff like that. So it is a community. It's the more you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Anybody else?
For us, mfg.com.
Okay.
So
That's
Yeah,
still around.
yeah, it's still around. Yeah.
That was the original Xometry.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the original one.
Yeah, we tried it.
Who does?
Shapeways.
Okay.
We found a lot of people were just price shopping. Right, there's different levels to MFG. We weren't
Yeah.
paying for a limited quote, so we were paying per quote we were unlocking.
Uh-huh.
And you send a quote and come to find out, yeah, we were just looking to get price. And a lot of times, like, right, you only unlock the parts that you genuinely want to do. Like, these are cool parts right in our wheelhouse, and they're like, yeah, well, we're not ordering them.
Yeah.
So,
That's
it's
the problem
just,
we have right now.
yeah, it's, I personally feel like the Xometries of the world, MFGs, right, we're in a modern era. I think there's gonna be a lot of business, I think, that flows through those websites, so we're trying them, but, some of them aren't suited for us, I guess, or we're not finding as useful, but we still, Xometry, I think we've done a lot of cool parts for Xometry.
Yeah.
Cool customers, those customers don't necessarily know that we made them, but like some of the, the biggest companies out there, we've been lucky to make parts for, but our name's not necessarily tied to them, but it's been a cool opportunity for us, cool parts, so I don't know, Xometry's been right for us, but
And Jake, I tell everyone this, since I've started the company, I wanna say I've maybe knocked on 5 to 6 doors. I'm a huge fan of visualization. I'll pull up in my little Honda Civic out there, I'll freaking shut my eyes, and I picture a pallet with a job traveler on it, and that job traveler is 3 months out, and if I have a job traveler, that means I'm busy. I'm a huge fan of visualization and karma, and that is how I get work. People wanna laugh, whatever, it works. And when we first moved in here, we just had the VF2 and I duct taped VF3 on that wall and I duct taped lathe on that wall.
Yeah.
And we have both of them now.
It says robot on that one.
I'm working on it. It has the auto door option, alright? Yeah, I'm working on it.
Words have power. I want to hit on social media real quick. Who's on social media? Who's not on social media? Who wants to be on social media?
I think we all know I am.
Is it working for you? Is it not? What's your strategy?
Yeah, so we're not on yet. I've got like Instagram and TikTok set up, because, I mean, manufacturing is a visual art, essentially. If you can get the right camera angles and right lighting and stuff, people are like, oh my god, this is cool. Or like, you know, if you have an interesting product, or, you know, you see the 5-axis spinning and, you know, doing these intricate things, like, I feel like the social media forms that are more visually appealing are typically what works well. I mean, that's why YouTube's worked so well for machining. You know, you got A-Bomb, you got, you know, Titan to CNC, you got the Australian the Australian machinist who does like heavy construction work, doing repairs and stuff. Like it works in a visual media.
I mean, I did a post the other day about something I did with spring steel, and I thought that was a known fact. But the guy was like, "Why didn't I ever think of spring steel for a parallel separator?" Hey man, that's an old toolmaker taught me that years ago. But again, someone learned from that post. You know, just something stupid, but
Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything to do it.
No.
It's get out your phone. Like I'm recording this now, but like that magnet thing that I have it all hooked up to, I've taken that thing and put it inside a machine, I put it inside a laser. You know, I'm getting videos, and it's, yes, lighting matters and angles matter, but at the end of the day, just getting the content matters.
I did another.
Inside the machine.
Yeah.
Putting our iPhones on the
Yeah.
Someone did a post about a blunt start and a lathe or a Higby start, and they didn't realize. So I kind of did a video about how I was explaining the blunt, and I said you have to wrap it at 100%. If you're not wrapping out at 100%, it's not. He's like, oh, maybe that's why, guys. I'm not wrapping it out at 100%. Maybe you have to. All that does is take out the razor sharp, very first razor sharp thread and makes it like a flat thread.
Okay. Good. Okay. So yeah, social media.
And I had someone reach out to me in Texas. They're like, I don't even know how your name came up, but it came up. I'm like, I had to take a guess. It was either LinkedIn or YouTube.
Yeah, it's visual. It's visualization.
I know you're posting quite a bit, Patrick. Are you doing any direct work from like the LinkedIn stuff?
Starting to.
Yeah.
We've definitely been quoted from LinkedIn leads.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely connected with, like, just,
Yeah.
you know, right, all of this, and so, I think,
Power of attraction.
yeah, I personally, I think LinkedIn so far is better, but, and maybe we haven't landed a ton of work yet, but, like a ton of connections, and I think LinkedIn's gonna help us a lot, is what it seems like, so, I struggle with what to post sometimes.
Sure.
We can't always share pictures of the parts we're making. Probably a lot of people do the same thing, so, that's one of the things, but,
Raw material coming in. Hey man, I'm thankful for this raw material. Anyone else has any RFQs? Hit up Liberty Manufacturing. And honestly, I didn't realize, but hashtags actually matter. More people do that.
yeah, so, we're, you know, I'm just trying different things, but it's, we're not, I mean, we have a company Instagram, but don't really do anything on it. I've plenty of cool shops that we follow, like you're saying, visual, but I guess I'm skeptical if people are actually getting work from that, or if they're just a big following of other shop owners that like what they do, you know, which I guess all is good, right, publicity, and, but we haven't spent a lot of time on it, really just like to.
It's hard to measure.
And even the post with your kids. So whose kid is it?
It's our nephew. It's our
Oh, nephew.
yeah,
Hey
yeah.
man, even that, man. Just shows your family, you know.
Borrow them for pictures.
That's
Works
lots of
too.
shop.
Let's see what you got.
That's cheating.
You
You better come borrow them before you go.
I'm telling you, put one of your girlfriend or wives. My daughter had 13,000 views on YouTube compared to anything I've ever. I think most I ever did was 16,000 or 6,000. She did little pose, put the part in, 13,000 views.
She still wrote that in.
Oh God, yeah. You should have paid me, Dad. I'll come up again if you want to pay me.
Yeah.
The other, like if you get stuck, you don't know what to post, go to ChatGPT. I have a prompt set up where I'm like, so a couple companies I work for, I do all their social media.
Yeah.
Now again, it's not overly dramatic. I shoot a couple videos, take 5 minutes, edit and post it. But I go to ChatGPT and I'm like, hey, I need a caption for welding. Give me something,
Yeah.
and it spits out a whole caption, post the video, and done.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to overthink it, because really people aren't really reading the caption at the end of the day. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna be looking at you, looking at your part, seeing what you're doing, and then hopefully down the road they're Liberty Manufacturing.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't overcomplicate it. Just the more consistency you can build with that, you'll grow that.
Even the Gar Mills that you guys got last time, just do a post on that. Hey man, we just came from a Gar test. We have this new X5. We're excited to try. that right there, just anything you can put there.
And wrapping it into the phone. I think the mistakes get more views too, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, people like to see mess up.
People love to see it. I'm not saying do it on purpose.
You know, and we have plenty of pictures of it, and we've talked about it, like, I think that'd be funny, and then you're like, yeah, well, I don't know if the guy that we want, you know, that we want to call us to make the parts wants to see, you know, but all of us, right, as other shop owners, I think, love that shit.
But you could talk about like we learned from that.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, listen, my manual skills suck, and I did a post on LinkedIn saying, hey, I need help making a cobalt drill flat bottom, and I am not, my manual, oh man, I really thought with the experience you'd know how to do that. This is really sad. Really? Because you know my background and where I came from, man? Just connect with him real quick. Yeah, they like to see that shit.
I like it when people tell us we're doing something wrong.
Alright, Drew
Bumps up the
Pro
impression.
Drew
Yeah.
Pro posted something. I said, if you're not, if people aren't hating on you, you're not doing something right.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing what you're, someone's gonna hate. There's always gonna be someone jealous of you. You know.
And make it personal too. Like, it doesn't always have to just be your shop and the parts you're making. One of the first questions you asked me when I walked in here today was like, are you still cold plunging?
Mm-hmm.
I post my stupid cold plunging videos to LinkedIn all the time. Me taking my shirt off, jumping in 40-degree water, writing a caption, and people love it. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
So the customer that I said that I actually wanted to get in with them because they had their hands on everything and I only did one part and they never sent me, I said, hey, I want any feedback. That whole conversation started because on Sunday I only put, if I'm here, I put a YouTube music that I'm listening to. I'm like, oh, this is, he's like, I'm sitting here listening to Rage as I type up this RFQ.
Yeah.
Awesome. That means you saw my video on LinkedIn or whatever and you know I like Rage and that's how the conversation started. So now we have a little bit of a bond.
Yep. Very good. Well, we're getting to the end here of what I had, so just shout it out, anything, you know, from this that you're gonna take back to your shop and make a change going forward.
Starting to use CRMs to get more organized. Definitely need that with running around. I mean, I mentioned that hammer guy. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot about him, and a week later he followed up with an email. You know, just because, yeah, it happens. Not gonna lie.
That's why I'm saying I think that's the hardest part of what we're doing. I have a lot of people helping me, and I can't keep everything straight either.
Yeah, I got some Russian bringing me 30 prints at 10 packets. I'm like, what?
How many walk-ins do you
But I'm
get?
very appreciative. Huh?
How many walk-ins do you get? Like, I feel like you've always got someone that's like a walk-in
Hi,
customer.
I'm your walk-in.
Well, no, I got a lot of them, but I haven't had any. I don't think I've had any in a while.
Yeah, I'm making those snowmobile parts for you.
Well, no, but he's a repeat guy. He's a repeat
Oh,
guy.
is he?
Yeah.
Is it the one that we,
Reverse engineered? Yeah.
the CAD
He brought in another part, yeah, that he needs.
Crazy.
So yeah, I know that me and one other shop are one of the few shops that take walk-in customers. Max Machining, Marcio and Sarah, they take walk-in customers. If you go to another customer around here, they're just gonna go see B&B Dynamic. I felt bad for the one guy one time because it was like, I literally had to take a skim on something and I'm not a manual guy. I turned on my highs, I skimmed it, he's like, how much? I said, I can't charge you. Do a post on social media saying, hey, B&B helped us out. You know, like that took me 5 minutes. Like, guy with an excavator had the thing came off the arm and he had me make a little pin to put back in there. And I said, sir, I'll make you another one if I can take a picture of your son at the machine because his son seems intrigued. So I'm like, hey, you're intrigued? He's like, yeah. I let him hit cycle start on the machine to do the engraving. I gave him the 3D printer that you gave me to donate to someone. So I gave him that 3D printer. I said, go on Thingiverse. What's your favorite video game? Blah, blah, blah. I said, I guarantee they have something to type on. And I did. I did a post and I did another one for free just because he let me do a post about his kid. And that got a threat. You might have just set that young man on a career path without even knowing it or something like that. It's all about giving back. Gregory Tom, I still got to get down to see Greg at the Six-Man Center. I got to see the new facility.
He put 2 of his guys to work this week.
Nice.
Like
Very
the
nice.
easiest hires I mean, it was like, I think Friday I sent him an email, like, we need to, like, I just need someone to tend a machine. We're running these parts that have a 2.5 minute cycle time and 3 minutes of deburring, so it's kind of bad news from a product flow perspective.
Yeah.
But yeah, he sent in 2 kids and we sent him like the video work instructions we made before they even showed up, and I'm like, wow, this is way more interesting than we thought it'd be. And Meanwhile, our other operators like totally like mind numb doing this. So, like,
I was just telling my guy today, because Reliable, no 18-year-old's gonna wanna sit there and just deburr all day. You know, like, you can't, he's gonna shoot his blow his brains out after 2 weeks if he's just sitting there deburring all day, you know, you gotta make it something, you know?
we're not putting these kids in charge of the deburring, it's more so opening up our other operator to kind of babysit them and then tackle them.
Uh-huh.
So they get to hit cycle start on the fancy CNC machine,
Nice.
and like that, for them, they feel like that's a lot of responsibility, and they're
Yeah.
like, they're locked in, and like, I don't wanna mess this up, like, they're almost terrified, but,
Nice.
you know, they're doing good work and showing up 3 days in a row, so.
That's a good thing.
That's a plus.
All right.
But go see Greg.
Yeah,
Let's go by our place.
no, I will. I gotta get down there after this project I'm working on now, hopefully.
We'll have another one behind that.
All right. I think that about wraps up what I have. So follow up, get a CRM system, stay away from red flags, get on social media. I think that's all I have. Any questions? Be happy to answer any questions.
No, I appreciate you making the drive down here. I hope we all learned a little something. Not gonna lie, CRMs and that was gonna be useful. Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. This was.
Where are you based? Are you local or?
I'm in near Lancaster.